Hello, and thank you for joining me again tonight. This video, I'm going to speak to you about energy. And by energy, I mean the type of energy that I work with, the type of energy we all experience, we all have. Prana, ki, chi, life force, vital energy. This is something that science has named electromagnetism. And what that is, in a very scientific way to look at it, is, let's say, the atoms and whatnots at a very molecular level, micro level, are all moving. Everything is moving. As solid as something may appear, everything is moving deep down at a molecular level. And things are spinning and whirling and doing stuff. So everything has this life force energy. I'm sure you can imagine that there's a big difference between the type of energy that we as human beings or animals or something like that has in comparison to that of a rock. And why is that? It's because we have some control over what our energy is doing. And I'll get into that more later. But everything does have this chi or prana energy. We have more control over it than other things that have it, since we are thinking and can interact and whatnot. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information on my view on the whole thing, some ways to balance your energy, to keep it balanced, and I'm also going to do a little auric field kind of cleansing to kind of keep get our energy balanced and whatnot. A little balancing. I'm not going to go into like a big distance Reiki session here or anything like that, but I will do some negativity removal and things that I hope that you enjoy. So, when our energy is low or negative or just not in the area that we want it to be, if I can say it that way, we're more prone to illness, we're more prone to bad luck or bad days, we are more prone to becoming depressed, feeling isolated and detached, disinterested. And I mean, we all love some isolation from time to time. I don't think that it's a bad thing to be alone and enjoy your own company or anything like that. However, there's a big difference between that type of isolation and the type of isolation where you feel like you can't connect with anyone or anything you're not interested in. Even when you're surrounded by people, you still feel disconnected. That's kind of another sign of kind of like a low life force energy going on. When our energy is strong, our body is able to heal itself much more faster and efficiently. It prevents, diseases and things like that. And we're just able to function, to process, to learn, to apply, to grow on our paths, on our journey in this life that we live in. We don't want to be stagnant. So it's important for our energy to be healthy and good and shining and whatnot, for us to avoid that stagnancy and promote growth in our lives in any way that you look at it. A way that's kind of fun to start getting a feel for energy if you don't work with energy. I feel like a lot of you guys are very clued into energy and are like very sensitive to it. But for those of you who haven't really had much experience with it, I'm going to give you 2 ways that you can kind of start to play around with feeling things. Once I show you these, and you might know them already, but once I show you these, you might see times throughout your day that you experience these sensations, which will give you a bit of a clue as to like what the energy is going on, or just like start working with it. The more you notice this energy, the easier it is for you to work with it, but also the more you'll feel it more after that. Like the more clued in you are, the more it like keeps coming to you. I don't mean the more you focus on the energy, the greater it becomes, but your awareness and your learning and knowledge of it will help you to keep it balanced, to know when things are good and when things are good and when things are bad and stuff like that. So this is like a classic one. I'm sure that you've seen this before. But basically just take your hands together. Mine are like tingling already. And just like rub them together really fast. And obviously this is bringing blood to your hands, but there's chi, prana, etc. energy in blood, so of course it would do that. Of course you would feel these sensations. And when you do that, obviously you're gonna have like a tingling. You can start to kind of like feel the energy there. For me, it feels kind of bouncy and kind of stretchy, almost like it gets stuck to my hands. The closer I bring my hands together, the more tingly my hands get. And the further away, they're still tingly, but they're not as tingly. So, like right there, like that's a very sweet spot. So you can start to feel energy that way. Another way to do it is the Chinese have a saying, or in China they have a saying, what is it? Qi follows the mind, or qi follows, so, like whatever the word is for mind. I'm sorry, I don't know that off the top of my head. But basically, the energy goes where you focus it. So we can use that in our bodies, and we can do a little playing that way. So I'm going to focus on the pit of my stomach right now. And as you sit and focus on that, you'll become, obviously, because you're focusing, it makes like, it's kind of like, oh yeah, of course it would. But you feel more energy going on there. You feel much more aware, obviously, because you're focusing. But you feel energy go there, just the same way that when you focus on something negative in your body, it makes it kind of like more intensified. When you focus on something that doesn't hurt, let's say like your knee, like move it to your knee, and you'll just start to feel kind of like different sensations there, like heightened awareness. Things like that are good ways to start to kind of play with energy if you're interested in feeling it. My favorite though is the hand rubbing, because that's just like really, really cool. I love that. So to get your energy balanced, let's say if you're feeling a little out of sorts, let's say you've been to the doctor or a therapist or whatever the typical medical protocol would be, because like Reiki and energy work does not replace anything, but it works very well alongside with stuff, with traditional medicine. So let's say you've gone to the doctor. Let's say you have an upset stomach and you go to the doctor and there's nothing wrong, but every once in a while you get like just a bad feeling in your stomach, and like something's going on or whatever. Let's say you want to try a holistic spiritual kind of route or whatever. You want to get your chakras balanced and your energy to be, you want to make sure there's no blockages. Whatever's drawing you to, you're going to go get some energy work done, okay? You could go to a Reiki practitioner. You could do yoga and meditate. You could do Tai Chi or Qigong or acupuncture. There's a lot of different ways that you can get like some energy work done. If like some people really enjoy acupuncture because it's more physical, it's something they feel like they can understand more. For whatever reason, it seems more medical. But they're all kind of the same concepts, or they have a lot of the same concept wrapped up in each other, which is basically, removing blockages, balancing things, running along the meridians in our body. The chakras are a huge part. Chakras were discovered in India. They are these energy points along our spine for the most part. If we're talking about the primary chakras, you could say they run along the spine, if you will, to the crown, to the very, very, your tailbone. And the energy in our body runs along kind of through them, and it's circulated by them and directed and whatnot. So they need to be balanced. So let's say you pick acupuncture. You feel good. You've seen some wonderful acupuncture person who I'm sure has given you a lot of information, recommendations on herbs and whatnot. And you feel good, but you want to make sure that you can keep feeling good. You don't want to rely on only being able to get your energy balanced by someone else. You want to be able to do this work for yourself. So there's some things that you want to consider when you're working to keep your energy balanced. So I'm going to do a little auric cleansing, energy balancing type thing on you. I hope that you enjoy it. And after I'm done, I will tell you a few things that I would recommend for you to keep in mind when you're working to keep that energy in a good state. So, okay. Also, cleansing your aura is very easy for you to do at home. It feels wonderful to have someone else do it for you. Whenever I do it to someone, they're like, what did you just do? Because I do look like a crazy person probably. But that's okay. It's all for their best interest. But to cleanse your aura at home, you can use a selenite wand. That's one of my favorite ways. You can use smudge or incense. You can use singing bowl or sounds, tuning forks and whatnot. You can take your hands, rub them together, get that life force energy going, and run them through your own body, like through your own auric field. And as you're doing that, when you push out, like, you could picture it going into like fire or like into the earth to be processed and made into something beautiful. But you can do it yourself. It is harder to get your back, but it's doable. I do it for myself quite often. And if you start to go to a Reiki practitioner and you discover a love for it, which I'm sure that you would, I would recommend taking like a Reiki 1 class. Reiki 1 will give you a certification to perform Reiki on, most importantly, yourself, but your loved ones and your pets and the earth in general. And if it was something you were really into, you could find like a Reiki share in your area and meet up with other Reiki people and kind of like do it on each other, which is really, really nice and extremely powerful. My first Reiki share, I was just blown away because you have so many people working on you at one time, so it's very quick, but it's just like really intense. It's really cool. If you get your Reiki 1, it doesn't make you a practitioner, like you can't have clients, but being able to do Reiki on yourself is so amazing. I do it every night as I'm laying down just because it's so easy that way for me. It's great for your stones too. You can use it to cleanse your stones, to charge them. You can do it on plants. Like, it's really very interesting. So, something to think about. I just love Reiki, so I love talking about it, but if you feel more comfortable with just your own meditations and stuff, or yoga or something very physical. That's great too. Oh, another way you can cleanse your aura is in the shower. You can visualize the shower head like pouring down, just like cleaning things off for you. You can take some baking soda even, or some salt or baking soda, and just kind of like, like scrub yourself off really quick. That will work. As long as you put the intent in it, that's what you're doing. You're cleansing your aura. You're removing any nasties that are stuck in your etheric body. And yeah, it works. Okay. Okay, so, excuse me, this little piece of paper, because I didn't want to forget anything. Okay, so ways to think about keeping your energies balanced and just keeping you in the best state. You need to be very aware of your lifestyle. Let's start with one of the first ones that's kind of difficult. The people in your life. We all have known one person or another, or maybe many, who are just kind of negative people. Like, they're not bad people, but they're just negative. Like, they always have something like negative to say, or like a nasty joke, like constantly. Like, that's kind of like all you hear, or gossipy, or talking about like just negative stuff. You know those people. You do. People who just, they don't make you feel good, like you might be able to laugh with them, like you like them, but it's just like you feel it like this isn't serving your best interest to be around them. I will say it's good to make an attempt. Let that person know, like, as nicely as you can, like, are you okay? Like, you seem like you're kind of negative today. Like, you don't have to call them out on like being negative for their whole life, but like just say something, because sometimes just hearing something like that from someone, like being called out and being negative, maybe that's what they need, like maybe that will help them to realize what they're doing, because it's not beneficial to them either. But if you do that and it doesn't work and it's just like not really helping, you're better off just like, removing yourself from those situations, like spending as least time as possible, or even eliminating some friendships. I know it's hard. It's always hard for us to do things like that. But as we grow and evolve on our own little personal journey or whatever, you're going to become, like, let's say this is you and your levels, and this is your friend and their levels. And something can happen where you're getting spiritual, you're learning this and that, and they're still here. And you're going to get to a point where there's just too big a gap, like, for you guys to connect. Doesn't make one of you better than the other, or wrong for, evolving, or wrong for not being ready to evolve, or whatever. Everyone's operating on the highest level of consciousness that they're able to at that point. You can't rush someone. You can give them a chance, like, you can, like, see if they can meet you, but if they can't, you can't hold yourself back for someone either, So, being very careful of the people that you have in your life is, it's huge. They greatly impact us. We're very impressionable. We're very sensitive creatures, between the things that we absorb throughout our day, the conversations we overhear, the media and advertisements, and all sorts of things. So certainly our friends and the people that we're surrounded with, our co-workers, etc., surely they're having an impact on our lives, and the things that they say, whether we agree with them or not, subconsciously we are picking up this nature from them. We're all very spongy kind of people. So we need to have that ability to remove ourselves from that situation. And I know it's very hard, but that is something to just keep in mind at least. Another thing is how you take care of your body. Your body is the home for this energy, for your soul, of course, as well, but for this energy. And for it to flow properly, we need to take care of our bodies. Does that mean, you're, not actively, like you're not a very active person, you should be incredibly active? I don't mean that. Stretching would be great though, like there's always something we could do. We could always do a little something to keep the blood flowing, make sure we don't have any blockages, and just keep the energy able to flow freely through us. Another very important part about that is our diet. Like, what are we putting into our body? Like, you are what you eat. Like, I know that's like, we've heard that a million times, but it's terribly true. Our body regenerates. It regenerates, like the skin regenerates like every however long. Your liver, your this, your that. Everything is regenerating. So what you're putting into your body is hugely important to what's going to be coming out and what your body is going to be made of. My recommendation as far as diet is just to add the good. Add good. Don't force yourself to give up those, like whatever your vice is. Like, if you know it's bad, like myself, I could put down a whole thing of Ben and Jerry's and it wouldn't be like shocking. Like in a summer night, I could do that, not every night, but I could do that. I don't care, that's fine. But I knew that was a problem. I knew that wasn't healthy for me. And now, like, I very rarely eat ice cream, and the fact that I could do that is like huge because I am like a huge ice cream person. I'm not saying you should give up something you love if you're not ready to. I was ready to, and I was very grateful for that. I just posted on Instagram actually cereal, like sugary cereal. I was like, there's certain foods that I need to like avoid because I can't just have a little of it. Like, I will binge on it, and cereal is one of those things. So I binged on this, like, it was organic, but I mean, it was still just crappy cereal. And I like really wanted to call my friend and be like, please tell me this is gonna be okay, because I feel really miserable right now. But instead of that, what I normally would make would be like bananas, blueberries, raspberries, seeds, nuts, and stuff like that, with some raw milk that I make from cashews. Like, you can find a better option, if you see yourself having this like addictive behavior towards certain things like sugars or carbs or something that like after you eat it you don't feel good. Like, that's the best way to judge it. If you get done with something and you feel good about it, you're probably okay. But if you get done with something and you're like, oh man, that was too much, or that wasn't good, I really shouldn't have done so much of that, maybe that's something you could start with working on, and when I say add the good, I mean, find some veggies and fruits that you're into and just add more of them to your diet. Kombucha, the right tea, maybe, if you drink coffee every day, maybe switch it to like green tea once in a while or something like that. You don't have to I'm not saying like give up everything, because I feel like that's very negative. I feel like that's hard, and that just sets everyone up for like failure, or sets you up to just kind of like start from the bottom again. Don't stress over it. Just add the good, and eventually the bad stuff will wean down. It definitely will. I've seen it happen many times. So just something to consider if you're working on your energy. Another important and highly, highly important, maybe the most important thing, is our thoughts. And they are so difficult to keep in line sometimes, aren't they? We need to acquire and develop a sort of mental discipline for keeping our thoughts in check. You can't prevent negative emotions from coming up. They're gonna come up. What you can do is build up your strength to learn how to handle those negative thoughts. Right before I made this video, I had a real little anxiety kind of thing, like, oh, just like a stress thing come up. And my dog's sleeping. And my strategy is take a step back, like stop obsessing over something, take a step back, because that's what we do, right? Get a bad thought in our head, or something happens, somebody cuts us off, get in a fight with a friend, we hear something we don't want to hear, we feel judged, we feel this, we feel that, and it just comes in, and we just want to dissect it. We just want to go over it again and again and again, because that's how we solve problems, right? We like overanalyze everything. But when it comes to that type of stuff, it really, in my opinion, it's really not the best way. Sure, when you're at work and there's like a problem and you want to work through your problem, like that's a different thing. Those are productive thoughts. I'm not talking about productive thoughts. I'm talking about those obsessive, like mouse on a wheel type thing that's like you're not getting anywhere. You're just digging yourself deeper into this bad state. So that mental discipline would be realizing where you are, that awareness, like realizing, oh, this is not comfortable, I'm not really getting anywhere, this isn't going to do anything good for me. Yeah, I know, I don't like this. That's the whole thing. I don't really need to think about how I don't like it anymore. So it's like, when that happens, I take a step back and just remove myself as much as I can, breathe for a few seconds, minutes, however long it takes, and then focus on something that I'm grateful for, that I love, that I treasure, that makes me happy. And it could be anything. Now, I would like to address that. Let's say you have a great relationship, say you're in love and you have a great relationship. It's great for you to check out from the negativity, regroup and think about that positive, that love, and feel grateful. Like, I am so grateful for the love that I have in my life right now. I'm so grateful for the way it makes me feel. I'm grateful for the person that I am when I feel this way. I'm grateful for all the experiences that I have and all the growth that I have of getting to know someone and learning, and them teaching me things and I'm teaching them things and we're growing, blah, blah, blah. That's awesome. I would advise not to focus on, though, that person, because what you're doing is you're putting too much pressure on them. Like, their job isn't to make you happy as much as they love you. They're not here to make you happy. They're here to have their own experiences. So when you put so much on, like, this person, well, anything can happen. Like, don't put so much pressure on one person. Just be grateful for how you feel right now, and savor those feelings and just appreciate them for that moment. You can't really, that whole, whatever. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. It could be something physical or material, whatever, your new camera, your computer, the books that you have, like whatever, your new bike, like whatever it is, or your hand-me-down bike, whatever it is that is a physical thing. Don't think about the item itself, but think about how it makes you feel. Think about how grateful you are to have it and to have the experience with it at this time, and just that, be present, not clingy, if that makes sense. So our thoughts, we definitely want to keep in check. We want our thoughts to be productive. When they're kind of negative but they're productive, that's one thing. When they're just serving no purpose, just take a step back and try to really control that situation. Okay, and another important thing I would like to add to all of this is developing the trust for yourself. So trusting your instincts, trusting those primal things, trusting your intuition, your knowing that whether a decision is right or wrong, you're making the right decision for you. Trust that no matter what's going to happen, you're going to learn from these experiences. Just like healthy things to give yourself back, or give yourself that like personal power in a sense, and just trusting yourself, like loving yourself, knowing that like you're best guide for yourself, maybe trusting yourself if you want to look at it that way. But developing trust for yourself is very good to keep your energy balanced, because it will give you confidence and just make you appreciate yourself more. And again, meditation is a great way to keep your, after you've had a balancing or removal, a negativity removal or anything like that, meditation is another great practice. I recommend a couple times a day, like morning and night or something like that. But hey, like, that is up to you. Like, you're the one that's gonna have to experience that, and you know what's best for you. So I'll leave it at that. But it is a good, just general thing to add to your day to keep the energy balanced. Breath work is very wonderful for things like that. Just nice, like a few times a day, just stopping and like just centering yourself, and your visualization, just visualize your energy like leveling out, increasing, pushing out any negativity or blockages or bad thoughts, anything stagnant, just kind of like pushing it out. Another thing I would like to mention is there are practices, and I'm going to make a video on this, but it's not going to be tonight. So if you'd like to get more information on this, just Google or more on YouTube. But there are mudras, which are typically hand positions. This one is a grounding hand position, so you'll often see like people in meditation with like their hands in their laps, or however, just with their fingers touching. So if our energy is flowing throughout our body, it reaches little ends like through our fingers and whatnot. So when we make connections in our body like this, putting the soles of our feet together, if we were going to sit in like a little Zen state, what that does is kind of reroutes the energy and kind of gives us a new it reroutes it, and it's beneficial. It's beneficial for meditations, for relaxing. This is grounding, as I said, so I use this one a lot. Another one, which I don't know if you call this a mudra, but it's typical in the energy connection, is putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and that creates another kind of like energy flow. And sometimes you'll notice that makes you feel better if you get there. So that's basically all I have to say about energy and prana and stuff. It's just a highly important part of our lives, of something that we should be very aware of, because it will bring inner peace, it will bring physical vitality, mental, spiritual, etc., and keep us more emotionally balanced as well. It's just a myriad of reasons why it's very important to keep our energy balanced, and why I'm so big on energy, and why I love to talk about it so much. So I hope that you could take something away from this video, and if not, I hope that it relaxed you, because that's kind of why I'm here. And yeah, so thank you for watching this. If you'd like to, you can follow me I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I have a website. You can message me here, whatever's best for you. I'm kind of getting better at checking all my media contact points. That was a little challenging for me. So please reach out, because I do love talking to you guys, and video suggestions and questions and things like that. I'm always happy to answer. So thank you again. I appreciate the support. If you found this helpful, if you like this kind of video, please thumbs up or subscribe, etc. And just namaste.